Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah, we continue with our application of the rules we have learned. And one of the things I will focus on from here onwards would be the application in the Quran. What we would do is we will take ayat of the Quran and we will learn the rules that are relevant for us to now understand those ayat and memorize their meanings. Up to now, I've been giving you rules just to build up your basic, very, very basic, fundamental knowledge in order for us to have the conversation so that you can follow the discussions that are subsequent to the lessons we've had. Now, Alhamdulillah, for those of you who have followed the lesson so far, this is something that from here onwards, the terminology that I will be using, you're now familiar with that. If you're not, you will need to go in and go back to those lessons, and at least you have that resource. So now that we have had over 20 lessons, we're in a position to unpack the first ayah of Surah Fatiha, which is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. But this time, so last time when we did that in one of the earlier lessons, it was a very focused application. But this time, you will see how the whole complete sentence, which this is a complete sentence in front of us, Alhamdulillahi, is going to make sense. So let's now start applying the rules we know. Alhamdu, we know, is a definite noun. And how do we know that? Again, is because of the alif lam that's here. And there is no tanween. Okay? In its natural state, this word would have been hamdun. And the dictionary will tell you that. But right now I'm telling you that, so that's part of your vocabulary, hamdun. And the transformation that it took brought it to alhamdu, and the alif lam we know now is additional because in its natural form the word is hamdun, becomes alhamdu, and it's a definite noun. When it's a definite noun, it's coming in the beginning of the sentence. What else is applicable? If you remember the rule, we said if a sentence starts with a definite noun, then that noun serves as the subject of this nominal sentence. Okay, so now we have a subject, and what we need is a predicate. So looking at this here, we have a particle here, which is lam with the kasra or zir, li. And you can go to the lessons if you have I gave you the meanings of this lam before in the previous lesson, and it comes in various meaning. For instance, let's write those down here: to, for, of. Okay, that's what it comes in. And next we have is Allah. So Allah, if you remember, in its natural nominal state, Allah was Allahu. And we know, I explained this, it's a definite noun. So what you have now is you have a lam, which is a preposition. It's also, we call that harf jar, right? A particle that gives the word after it, gives it a majroor state. And you can see that Allah here is in majroor state because in the nominal state, Allah had there is a dhamma here, single dhamma, right? But it's now got a kasra. So in this case here, this noun or this type of noun takes the majroor state is now represented as a kasra. So otherwise Allah would have been in its nominal state Allah, but because there's an influencer before it, which is lam, harf jar, a particle, it's making Allah in an influence condition, and the influence that it's having on Allah is it's making it majroor, and therefore it's in the majroor state. So, and the translation here, we can say, the translation of alhamdu is, we said, the praise. We also said all praise because of the way the translation would take place, but let's stick to the praise just from a strict linguistic perspective. The praise, and then this is again the subject, and lam. A new rule I'm teaching you now is when lam, or when any particle, a preposition is coming with the particle after it, generally speaking, a noun after it, this construction of the particle and the noun serves as the predicate of the sentence. So here, this is now lillahi, all of this, lillahi, serves as the predicate. Okay, so we have the subject, which is the definite noun, gives us the subject, and then we have the predicate. So now we have a subject and a predicate, and let's piece the translation together. So the translation will become, I'm going to write it at the bottom right here, the praise. Now, because the subject predicate is, are, am, these are all going to be implied because the Arabic does not have anything like that. The praise is, and which meaning are we going to pick from the lam harf jar? Is it going to be the praise is to Allah, the praise is for Allah, or the praise is of Allah? So here's the prime example that a word in Arabic could have multiple meaning, or a letter could have multiple meaning. And depending on the context, you will have to choose the most appropriate one. So here, out of these three, what makes most sense is, to me, is the praise is for, and then Allah is the noun, so Allah. So this is pretty much sort of a plug and play. As you can see, once you know each word, you can piece it together. This is important, keep that in mind. This is implied in the subject-predicate construction. So now what you have is, if you reflect over it, you can identify a definite noun, you can identify a particle, you can identify the noun and its state or its condition, influence condition because of that particle. Now you know that, once you have a definite noun, once you've identified the subject being the definite noun, you definitely need a predicate because this is a nominal sentence construction, and a nominal sentence requires a subject and a predicate. So if alhamdu is serving as a subject, then lillahi can, because it's the construction we said, comes in as a predicate. So now you know that serves as a predicate, and you have a subject-predicate construction, and when you translate it, is inserted into that translation. Subject and predicate comes in the middle for this context. So it says, the praise is for Allah. If you go to English translations, they will translate it they will not follow strictly the translation word by word, and they would do a contextual translation, and we have various examples of that. So they say all praise belongs to Allah, or so on and so forth. Something is for Allah, it belongs to Allah. These are, now modifications that are being made based on contemporary language, but plug-and-play translation is still acceptable at the first level to understand the meanings, and that's our objective here. So when you're reciting in the prayer, now you know when you say, Alhamdulillah, the praise is for Allah, then make sure your heart's also connected with that phrase, and you're praising Allah inwardly and outwardly. Hopefully this will help in your prayers and in furthering or enhancing your understanding. We will continue with more application. Next lesson, I will focus on Surah Al-Falaq, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ, and I will explain to you the meanings, inshallah. So practice and remembering your du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.